Have you ever found yourself, wrestling with that stubborn joint pain? The kind that just won't quit?
Hmm.
Or maybe you're all too familiar with that uncomfortable heartburn?
Yeah, that burning feeling.
Or maybe just that creeping feeling that your bones, they just aren't as strong as they used to be?
Right. It's easy to think of those as totally separate things, isn't it?
Exactly. Like a pill for your joints, an antacid here, maybe a supplement there.
It's kind of the standard approach. But today, we're going to dig into some really surprising insights from the sources you shared, including that one document.
Right.
Our mission, really, is to uncover this hidden conversation happening inside your body. Specifically, why your stomach might actually be, well, whispering secrets to your bones.
Whispering secrets. I like that.
And how some common fixes, the things people reach for, could actually be making things worse down the line. We're here to pull out the key nuggets of knowledge for you.
Okay. And before we dive too deep, let's maybe clear up some confusion first. Because you hear terms like arthrosis, osteoporosis, gastritis. They can sound all jumbled up.
They can. And people might think they're just, different flavors of pain.
Right.
But while they are distinct conditions, they're surprisingly deeply connected, as we'll see.
Okay, so let's break them down. What about arthrosis first?
Okay, arthrosis. Most people think, oh, it's wear and tear, or maybe it's just bad genes.
Yeah, my parents had it.
Exactly. But what's really fascinating in the material is how it's described. It's seen as a natural defense process.
A defense? How so?
Well, it's like your body is trying to fuse bony bits together to stop movement, basically, and prevent more injury in that area. And here's the really key insight. The arthrosis itself, it doesn't cause the pain.
It doesn't. Then what does?
It's the inflammation around it. That's what hurts. So genetics might play a role, a predisposition, maybe, but they don't lock you into it. It's not like your destiny.
Wow, okay. That's a completely different way of looking at it. So if arthrosis isn't just wear and tear, what about our bones themselves? Are they just like scaffolding?
That's the common picture, right?
Yeah.
Static, unchanging.
Yeah.
But that's totally wrong. Our bones are incredibly dynamic. They're constantly remodeled.
Remodeled. Like a house.
Kind of. They're being broken down and rebuilt all the time. It's a nonstop process.
Okay.
The problem comes with osteopenia and osteoporosis. That's when this whole remodeling system gets out of whack. The breakdown and rebuilding aren't coordinated properly.
So osteopenia is like the early warning sign.
Exactly. It's an intermediate stage. The balance is starting to tip. Osteoporosis, though, that affects the actual structure, the architecture of the bone. Makes it fragile.
Got it. Okay, so arthrosis, osteoporosis. Now, gastritis. Stomach issues.
Right. Gastritis is basically stomach dysfunction. Often shows up as acidity, reflux, that kind of thing.
And here's where it gets counterintuitive, right? Because everyone assumes it's too much stomach acid causing the problem.
That's the common wisdom, yeah. Even how it's often treated. But the sources challenge that directly.
How?
They suggest that the more acidic your stomach's internal environment is, the healthier you generally are.
More acidic is healthier. That sounds backwards.
It does, but think about it. That strong acidity is crucial, is what breaks down your food properly.
Yeah.
And maybe even more importantly, it kills off harmful toxins, bacteria, other microbes we swallow.
Ah, okay. Like a gatekeeper.
Precisely. So this insight about gastritis, that it's often too little acid, not too much, that's kind of the linchpin, it sets up everything else we need to talk about.
Okay, so just to recap quickly, arthrosis, body's defense, pain from inflammation around it.
Right. Osteopenia, osteoporosis.
Right.
Problem with that bone remodeling, the balance is off.
Got it. Which leads us straight back to gastritis, where the real issue, surprisingly, is often an insufficiently acidic stomach.
Exactly. And that misunderstanding, that focus on too much acid, that's what leads people into what sources are calling the anti-acid trap.
The anti-acid trap. Let's unpack that.
Okay, think about it. You get that burning, bloating.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel like you, quote, ate a cow after just a small meal.
Yeah, that heavy feeling.
So what do? What's the quick fix?
Antacids. Pop a pill.
Right. And you feel better, don't you? At least at first.
Yeah, the relief can be pretty fast.
And that relief,
Yeah.
that's the bait. It leads to using them long term. Maybe you just keep taking them, just in case. Sometimes for years.
Okay, but what's the trap part? What's the hidden cost?
Here's where it gets really, really important. Taking those antacids, especially long term, it completely inhibits your stomach's natural acidity. It creates this condition called hypochlorhydria.
Hypo meaning low, right? Low acid.
Exactly. Too little hydrochloric acid. The source has a great analogy. It's like taking saliva out of your mouth.
Ooh, Ooh.
or sweat from your sweat glands. You're literally stopping a vital bodily function.
Wow. Okay, that puts it in perspective.
And once you stop that function, boom, domino effect, both upstream and downstream in your digestive system.
Okay, let's start upstream. What happens there?
Upstream, you've got that valve between your esophagus and your stomach. It's called the cardia.
Right.
That valve is supposed to be a one-way street. It relies on the big difference in pH. Very acidic in the stomach, less acidic in the esophagus to stay tightly closed.
The acid difference signals it to shut.
Precisely. But when you take antacids, the stomach pH goes up, becomes less acidic. It gets closer to the esophagus pH.
As the signal weakens.
The signal weakens, and the valve starts to fail. It doesn't close properly.
So then acid does splash back up, even the low acid.
Exactly. Which means you still feel that burning, that acidity.
The irony.
Right. So what do? You think, oh, I need more antacid.
You double down.
You double down. And you end up in this vicious cycle, chronicizing a treatment that was never meant for long-term use.
Okay, that's the upstream problem. What about downstream, towards the intestines?
Well, if the stomach isn't acidic enough, the food doesn't get broken down properly. It's poorly processed.
That makes sense.
And those toxins or microorganisms we talked about, like Helicobacter pylori, which the source interestingly calls an old friend that usually behaves.
An old friend.
Yeah, implying it's often harmless. But it can become problematic when the acid is too low to keep it in check.
Okay.
So these undigested food particles and unchecked microbes pass into the intestines.
Which can't be good.
No. It puts a huge burden on everything downstream. Your liver, your bile production, your gallbladder, they're all overworked trying to deal with this mess the stomach couldn't handle.
And this is where things like SIBO come in. Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. People hear that term a lot.
They do. But the source offers a slightly different perspective. It suggests the issue is often better understood as dysbiosis.
Dysbiosis, what's the difference?
Think of SIBO as maybe too many weeds in one part of the garden. Dysbiosis is more like the entire garden ecosystem is out of balance. It's not just an overgrowth in the small intestine. It's an imbalance in the types and diversity of microbes throughout the digestive tract. The necessary beneficial ones might be struggling while others are taking over. It's a broader picture of imbalance.
Right, the whole gut environment is just off.
Exactly. It's a more systemic view of the problem.
Okay, this is making sense, but we started talking about bones. Where's the link? Stomach acid, bone health. How do they connect?
This is the really surprising part. Okay, so our bodies are obsessed with balance, especially pH balance. It has to be kept in a very, very narrow range.
Like tightly controlled.
Extremely. Even tiny shifts can be dangerous, even lethal. Now, the stomach, it's designed to be the body's main way of handling excess acidity. It channels acidity there to help manage the overall internal pH balance.
Like a designated acid zone?
Kind of, yeah. It's the place the body uses to safely contain and use strong acid without throwing the whole system off balance.
Okay, so what happens when we shut that down with antacids?
Now we get to the core of it. If the stomach's acidic environment is compromised, if it's not acidic anymore, the body cannot use it for that crucial pH balancing act. It loses its primary tool for managing internal acidity.
So it has to compensate somehow.
It absolutely has to. The body will find a way to balance its pH. It's non-negotiable for survival.
So where does it turn?
It turns to the biggest mineral reserve it has.
Oh, no.
Yep, the bone.
It starts pulling minerals out of the bones.
Exactly. The organism will actively demineralize your bones, pull calcium and other alkaline minerals out to buffer the acidity in the rest of the body that the stomach can no longer handle.
So the bones are literally sacrificing themselves.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
They're sacrificing their mineral content to maintain that critical pH balance elsewhere because the stomach's function has been taken offline.
That is profound and kind of scary.
It is. And the more antacids someone takes, the longer they take them.
The more bone demineralization happens.
Precisely. More bone degradation. And it also messes up the body's ability to remodel bone properly. Remember that dynamic process.
Right, the breaking down and rebuilding.
This hinders the rebuilding part, so it can actually accelerate and worsen conditions like arthrosis, even while the antacid might be masking some other digestive pain.
Wow. So you think you're helping one problem, but you're potentially making your bones much worse.
That seems to be the connection the sources are highlighting, yes.
And you mentioned something specific about women?
Yes, there's a crucial note for women, especially after 50, around the time of climacteric or menopause.
Why then specifically?
Because of the natural drop in estrogen levels. Estrogen plays a really important role in bone health, particularly in regulating that remodeling process.
So women are already facing a bone challenge then.
Exactly. The hormonal shift itself impacts bone density, and if, on top of that, their stomach function is inhibited by antacids.
It's a double whammy.
It really is. Yeah. The body's ability to manage pH is compromised, and the hormonal support for bone rebuilding is reduced. It just compounds the problem significantly.
Okay. This is a lot to take in. So the big question then, the one everyone listening is probably thinking, how on earth do you reverse this? If you've been taking antacids for ages, you can't just stop, right? You said you feel that burning again. How do you get out of the trap without causing a catastrophe?
That is the critical question.
Yeah.
And you're right, just stopping cold turkey is usually not the way to go, especially after long-term use.
So what do the sources suggest?
They strongly emphasize that reducing or stopping antacids needs to be done carefully. It must be controlled and supervised.
By a doctor, presumably?
Yes, by health professionals. But, and this is important, professionals who are up to date on this specific interconnected science. Meaning some older approaches might just say, oh, you have reflux, keep taking the antacid. They might not be aware of these deeper systemic consequences we've been discussing.
Right. You need someone who understands this stomach-bone connection.
Exactly. So the focus then shifts from just suppressing symptoms to actually restoring stomach function.
Okay. How do you do that?
One key compound mentioned in the material is beta-nina HCl, betaine hydrochloride.
What does that do?
It essentially helps to stimulate the stomach's own production of hydrochloric acid. It kickstarts the process again.
So it helps the stomach get back to its normal acidic state.
Right, which then allows it to do its job properly, including regulating the body's overall pH. There's also mention of supporting nutrients, things like selenium, zinc, magnesium, foundational stuff for digestive health.
Okay, so supplements can help restore the stomach, but is that it?
Not at all. The approach needs to be holistic. And here's another really interesting point, especially regarding bones.
Yeah.
You know how people with osteoporosis are often told to be super careful, avoid impact, don't risk a fall?
Of course. Be gentle with your bones.
Well, the source material actually highlights the opposite in a way. It says that mechanical stimulus, meaning exercise, impact, movement, is the only thing that genuinely promotes bone resolution and remodeling.
Wait, impact helps rebuild bone, even fragile bone.
That's the claim. Obviously, it needs to be appropriate impact, maybe not jumping off a roof, but movement, weight-bearing exercise that signals the bones to get stronger, to remodel. We have to move. Avoiding movement can actually make things worse.
That turns conventional wisdom on its head a bit.
It does. And then, of course, there are the fundamentals, the things we always talk about, but they become even more critical when you understand this connection.
Like what?
Outdoor activity, getting sun exposure. Essential for vitamin D, which acts almost like a hormone in the body. Crucial for calcium absorption and bone health.
Okay. Sun. What else?
Good nutrition. And that means real food, not refined, ultra-processed stuff. Focusing on whole, nutrient-dense foods.
Makes sense. Fueling the body properly.
And when you eat matters too. The sources suggest maybe only eating 2 or 3 times a day.
Fewer meals. Why?
To give your digestive system a proper break, time to fully process, rest, and repair. Constant snacking keeps the system working all the time.
Interesting. So, real food, fewer meals. What else?
Sleep.
Yes.
Prioritizing 8 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Aligning with day-night cycles. Crucial for repair and hormone regulation.
The basics.
The absolute basics. And stress reduction, of course.
Right.
Stress impacts digestion, hormones, everything.
Okay. It's a whole lifestyle picture.
It really is. And here's the final crucial point that ties it all together.
Okay.
You can take all the calcium, all the vitamin D, all the collagen, all the fancy bone-building supplements in the world.
Yeah.
But if your digestive tract is compromised, if your stomach isn't acidic enough, if you have dysbiosis, if you can't absorb nutrients properly,
it's all useless.
Pretty much. It's like pouring water into a leaky bucket. The absorption is the bottleneck. You have to fix the digestion first, or at least alongside, for anything else to work effectively.
Wow. So it really all comes back to the gut, doesn't it?
In so many ways, yes. This connection between stomach acid and bone health is a powerful example of that.
So let's just quickly recap the big aha moment here. We've uncovered this really surprising, vital link between your stomach health specifically having enough acid and the integrity of your bones.
And how some common solutions, like long-term antacid use, can actually worsen the underlying problem, creating this cycle of demineralization.
it really makes you pause and think about how we treat symptoms in isolation, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But hopefully, gaining this knowledge empowers you, the listener. It helps you ask better questions.
Yeah, maybe question the long-term plan if you're just relying on antacids.
Exactly. And seek more holistic, informed solutions for your health. To look at your body not just as separate parts, but as this incredibly interconnected system.
A system that's always trying to find balance.
Always. Even when those balancing acts, like pulling minerals from bone, have unintended consequences.
So that leaves us, and you, with a final thought to maybe chew on. How many other seemingly isolated symptoms, things happening in different parts of your body, might actually be whispers from a single underlying systemic imbalance just waiting to be understood?